Hello everyone and welcome back to Tinderloss Gaming and welcome back to my playthrough of Arkham Horror living card game, and we are playing the Path to Carcosa cycle. We are now on episode 4 and we're going to be playing the Unspeakable Oath this time round. Obviously 4th Mythos pack in the cycle. So hope you're enjoying the series so far. We haven't had too much luck as of yet, but you know, it is what it is. The Lovecraftian universe is not known for its bunnies and flowers and all that sort of stuff, so it's pretty standard that my investigators are taking physical and mental trauma through their sort of trials and tribulations of trying to understand what's behind the King in Yellow play. Carcosa itself and mysterious cultists sort of running amok and monsters and all sorts of stuff. So really enjoying the playthrough. Hope you are too. If you could like, comment or subscribe to the channel, that would be really welcome and lovely, and glad to see you on board with the channel. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to quickly check where we are in regards to the campaign. So as I've said, we're playing through the Path to Carcosa. We've done Curtain Call, we've done The Last King, we've done Echoes of the Past, which was, I'm still trying to get over Echoes of the Past. I think I was literally like one action away from being able to get off the board and complete the agenda, which still smarts today, but I'm sure I made plenty of mistakes through the course of that game. On that very subject, this is just me playing for fun. I'm not a serious competitive player by any means. I like to just play games. Playing them solo, you can miss things, not intentional. You can. There was a couple of retrofits I done when I was playing Echoes of the Past, but I will retro it if I'm still in the same phase. But if I've gone beyond the phase, then I think that's tough. I'll have to get over it. And there's a few things I know, thinking about it after playing, I know that I missed things like exhausting robe to you know, get lower spell costs. Also exhausting people like Witten Green previously to get access to tomes. But when you're playing solo and you're double-handing it, there's a lot to remember. There's a lot going on in regards to the cards in your hands, the cards that you've played, the cards that are coming at you from the encounter deck. Not an excuse, just a fact of life. And I'm sure anybody that does play solo or with just one or two friends, it's a complex game to keep a track of. But I do my best. It's not done intentionally, it's not done to game it. You can tell by my results so far that that certainly hasn't been the case. But yeah, I mean, just a spoiler and a sort of gentle warning that, you know, if there are mistakes made, you know, my apologies, they're not intentional. This is not meant as a tutorial. There are plenty of other brilliant Arkham Horror card game channels on YouTube that go through things in a lot of detail, deck building, how to set scenarios up, play scenarios. Mine is just a fun run through, which I hope you're enjoying. So today, like I say, we're playing the Unspeakable Oath. So let's go across to our current position with the campaign. So here we are with our investigators, Jaqueline and Harvey. Jaqueline now is starting with a physical trauma and a mental trauma. So she's going to be down to 5 health and I believe 8 sanity. Harvey's just starting off with the 1 mental trauma, which I believe he's down to 7 sanity. I can check that when we go across to the board. At the end of the last video, I did do some spending of XP, and with Jaqueline, I've had a rethink actually whilst I've been sort of having a break from it, and I have adjusted her deck again. I took out 2 astral travels to put in 2 Daniel Wright Renfields. The reason for putting Daniel in is because of her current situation with regards to her health, her physical health. She's starting at 5, which is really low. So been through the cards, 4 of the Mystic, and I'm staying within theme, obviously, for Jaqueline, which I have to do for her deck building. And I've decided to put Daniel staying in, but I did take out 2 Astral Travels, which in hindsight, although astral travel is quite situational, when you do have it and you do need it, it could be game winning. Moving to any revealed location on the board is actually powerful. So I've decided to, I've had a relook at the deck and I've taken out 2 Defiances. I know that's a pretty good card. I don't seem to get, I can't get it. I don't get my head around it a little bit. So I've gone for it again. I've taken out 2 Defiances and put back in 2 Astral Travels. So just to make that clear, Harvey, I've stuck with it what it is. He's got 2 Mind Over Matters, level 0. So hopefully he's, again, a bit more utility. So let's read through where we are with regards to the campaign. It says, "Wake up, Daniel." The words echo in your thoughts as you pace through the dishevelled room, trying to make sense of what you've just experienced. You had awoken that afternoon with a violent startle, your body shaking, bed sheets soaked with sweat. Although you slept healthily, a healthy 8.5 hours, you feel even more exhausted than you had the previous night. You catch a glimpse of your dark, bloodshot eyes in the mirror next to the dresser and wonder if you got any real sleep at all. Who is Daniel, you wonder? The chamber from your dream looked like a prison, but the man Daniel, he seemed unhinged, as though he wasn't in control of his mind. This led to only one conclusion: an asylum. Knowing you get little rest here, you head towards Arkham Asylum, hoping your hunch is correct. As you enter the asylum, you stop to speak with the receptionist, though you feel your body urged to steep deeper into the clutches of this madhouse. He gives you a confused expression as you tell him of the King in Yellow and of Daniel. But at your insistence, he paws through his filing cabinet, eventually pulling out the stark white folder. Inside is a wealth of information about the patients admitted to the asylum, medical records, psychiatric evaluations and the like. You recognise a few of the faces as he flips through the pages. Daniel Chesterfield, yes? He's admitted under the special care of Dr. Mintz, but you can't see him. His level is restricted to staff only. You argue and insist to be let in to the patient's wing, knowing that Daniel must hold the key to understanding what's really going on. The receptionist gives you a pitying smile and relents, nodding to the security guards nearby. Of course, he says with the honesty of a street peddler. I'll schedule a meeting for you with Dr. Mintz so you can speak with him about Daniel. These gentlemen will see you in. Relieved that you will soon get to the answers you seek, you're escorted into the patient's wing of Arkham Asylum. Check the campaign log. If Constance Dumain is listed under VIPs interviewed, which she is, you recall what Constance had told you when she spoke with her during her hellish dinner party. She and the other members of the cast and crew had been told by director Nigel Ingram to take some kind of oath. At first, she'd written it off as the whim of an eccentric artist, something Mr. Ingram did as a strange formality to unite and strengthen the bonds of his cast and crew. And to his credit, she claimed that it worked. Ever since they'd taken his strange oath, and the members of the troupe felt much more confident and full of spirit. Perhaps Daniel had a similar experience during the last production of The King in Yellow. You must speak with him about this. So what it's telling us to do is each investigator places the top card of their deck face down in their play area without looking at it. Treat this card as a courage asset with 0 cost, no icons and 2 sanity. Discard this card if it leaves play for any reason. Right, so we must remember that when we go across to the table. I'm just going to put some sanity in front of me so I remember. Okay. Set up. Now I have already set up because there's quite a lot to do in regards to setting this particular scenario up. So we have gathered all those cards: Unspeakable Oath, Hasta's Gift, the Inhabitants of Carcosa, Delusions, Decay and Filth, and Agents of Hasta. We've got all those sets; they're all done. We have then set aside each monster enemy as a separate pile, and there are 7. We have also set aside the lunatic enemies, and again there's 7 in a separate pile. I have randomly chosen a copy of each of the asylum halls, Eastern Patient Wing and Western Patient Wing, and then we've removed the other copies. And then we'll choose which asylum hall we're going to enter when we get back to the table. I've also set aside Daniel Chesterfield and each copy of Patient Confinement. And finally, I have also put in the mess hall, the kitchen, the yard, the garden, the infirmary, and the basement hall. One thing I have yet to do is I've got to put a -3 into the chaos bag, which I'll do in a second. And we did not take the Onyx clasp. We didn't get that, so we're not going to be using the really bad ones version 2. We're going to be using version 1. And the remainder of the encountered cards have been put into an encounter deck and shuffled. So we are ready to start playing the Unspeakable Oath. We're going to go across to the table in 2 seconds, and I can just walk through the final bits of setup, and then we can crack on. See you in a second. Okay, here we are at the table. We've got all of our locations in play. We've got the 2 random asylum halls. We're going to choose where we're going to start in a second. We will get ready for a few more bits of setup before we start. So first things first, we're going to shuffle our card decks up, and then we're going to take the top card and put it on here, turned over, and we've got 2 sanity. I'm going to put 2 sanity on it, and I'll take it off as I need it. That'll be an easier way to remember. So let's just shuffle up Harvey's deck. Very good, I'll shuffle. Trying not to look at the bottom card, so I don't know what's what. We'll do a cat weasel cut, and then that's him, and then we'll take the top card, put it into play with 2 sanity on it, and we'll take that off as and when we need it. We'll do the same thing with Jacqueline's card, or Jacqueline's deck should I say. Oops, daisy. I think I've mentioned this before. I'm trying to shuffle around tripods and cameras and all sorts of stuff. It's not an excuse, I'm a rubbish shuffler as it is. Cat weasel cut. Deck into play. We'll take a card off and put it down there. With 2 sanity on it. We've got our acts, agenda, and an encounter deck ready to go over there. Final thing to look at. Oh, I do need to just pause for a second because I haven't put the -3 in the bag. I'll just do that very quickly. Okay, yeah, chaos bag all sorted. I've just done a quick double check to make sure we've got everything in there we need. We've got 3 skulls. We've got a cultist, we've got a elder one, we've got a stone tablet, we've got an auto fail. Yeah, so it's the 2 -3s in there as well. 2 -3s in there, -4. The rest of it's all standard-ish. Okay, so that's the chaos bag all sorted. Next thing we're going to look at is what those things do. So let's have a quick look at the reference card. So we're going to be, we're not playing on hard and expert, we're playing it on standard. So a skull, which is 3 of, -1. If you fail, randomly choose an enemy from among the set aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. Okay, that's fine. A cultist is -X, where X is the amount of horror on you. Delightful. The tablet is -X. X is the base shroud value of your location. They're always delightful. And then we've got one of those, it's a 0. Either randomly choose an enemy from among the set aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it, or this test automatically fails instead. Well, I don't think we're going to want to do that, but you know, we'll have to wait and see what we get across, what we come across. So that's where we are in regards to the individual or the reference card. Okay, I think we are ready to start episode 4, the Unspeakable Oath, and hopefully we'll be a little bit better. First things that we need to do is draw our player hand. So let's go across and draw 5 cards for Harvey. He is going to get, well, the man in the pallid mask can go away straight away. So we're going to get an occult invocation, brilliant. We're going to get a wit and green, also good. We're going to get a disc of Itzimar. I need to put that into play. So yeah, that's pretty good. We've then got to feed the mind. Might keep that because we get to draw a card, and I need to use Harvey's engine. And then finally, we're going to get a higher education. I think I'm going to keep all of those. So we're going to do that. We'll keep those 5. Sorry, man in the pallid mask goes back into the deck, and we'll give it another shuffle. Oh my goodness. Oh my blinking goodness. Need more coffee. Give it a good old cat weasel cut. Put that back into play. So there we go. That's Harvey's starting hand done, and then we'll look at we'll do Jacqueline. She's going to get Scrying Mirror. Definitely keeps these. Voice of Ra. That worked well for us last game. Crystal Pendulum +1 will, which is always good. Ineffable Truth came in handy last game, so that's good. And then we're going to get an Azure Flame. Okay, again, I think I'm going to keep all of those. We've got some good starting hands there. Does it bode well? Does it bode well? And then the final thing we need to do is check whereabouts our investigators are going to start. There's 2 asylum halls in play. One leads to the infirmary, one leads onwards to the mess hall, the kitchen, yard and garden. As ever, is it worth splitting up the party? I think it probably is. What could go wrong? So we'll put Harvey into play in the asylum hall west wing, and that's going to be 3 shroud, 1 clue each. Each lunatic at this location gets +1 horror value. Okay, so that's going to come into play there with 2 clues on it. Harvey should be okay at doing that. And then Jacqueline is going to come into play at the eastern patient wing. Oh. And let's turn that over and see what we get. We are going to get 3 shroud, no clues. Action, take a horror, evade automatically a lunatic enemy at this location. Oh, again, could come in handy later on. So Jacqueline's going to be there. Harvey's going to be there. Whew. Right. Okay. Oh yeah, one thing we need to do is just look at the acting agenda. So, seriously, not a great start. So let's have a look at the agenda. Locked inside. The patient wing of the asylum is far quieter and lonelier than you would expected. The hall reeks of chemicals and body odour. As soon as you're escorted inside, the doors behind you are closed and locked tight. 2 doom on this to advance it. Okay, so that's going to be a quickie. And then Act 1A, Arkham Asylum. Aside from the few patients giving you a wide berth, there aren't any orderlies or doctors around to speak with you. Looks like you'll have to find Mr. Chesterfield on your own. 3 clues per investigator, so we're going to need 6 clues to advance this act. Right, we are good to go. Let's start off with Harvey. See if we can get these 2 clues straight away. Well, I might not get them straight away. So we'll keep the occult invocation later on. So we've got a couple of choices here. First things first, because I never play it and I need to get used to getting it into, because it's always handy when it's there. I'm going to pay 3, 2, 3 to bring in the Discuitsumar. Or do I? Or do I? Yep, I'm going to do that. Second action, I'm going to draw a card. And I'll use Harvey's special ability to give me two cards effectively, because it's the investigation phase. Let's put that up. We're in the investigation phase. We miss Mythos phase in the first round. So second action, I'm going to draw a card, and because of Harvey's special ability, I get to draw 1 more. So he's going to get the man with the padded mask. I'll sort him out in a second. And he's going to get cryptic writings, which as a reaction to cryptic writings coming into play, you gain 2 resources. So I'll play it and gain 2 resources. So that was Harvey's second action. Let's just sort out the man in the padded mask. Let's just have a look at his cards so we know what we're doing. Spawn, location furthest away from all investigators. Investigate him to defeat him effectively. We've come across him before, he's out very early. So he can't go here or here because he'll be close to Jaqueline. 1, 2 to there. So 1, 2 to there, 1, 2, 3 to the garden. So he's going to go in the garden. We don't flip the card because that's not the same scenario. So we leave that there. Man in the padded mask is going to go in the garden. And we've got 2 resources from cryptic writing, so we have now got 4 resources. Do I have a go at 3 versus 5? I'll try and get a clue. Might try and get a clue at this point. Just to start the ball rolling, we need 6 clues to advance the act, so... Or do I put Whitting Green into play? She has got a relic. Yeah, I'm going to spend 4. The Discuitsumar is a relic. Spend 4 from Harvey and put Wit and Green into play. When I control a tome or a relic, I get +1 intellect, and as a reaction, I can reveal, after revealing a location or put a location into play, exhaust Wit and Green and search the top 6 cards of my deck. Try to remember that, MB. Try to remember that. So that was Harvey's third action. That's fine. Okay, we've got Jaqueline. She's got 5 resources. She's got a number of things that she can put into play. I think first things first, let's get the engine going a little bit. We'll spend 1 and play Voice of Ra. Gain a resource, so that happens straight away. Reveal 3 random tokens for each symbol revealed, gain an additional 2 resources. So we will play Jacqueline's special ability, which means she's going to draw an additional 2. So we're going to be drawing 5 in total from the bag and hopefully get some resources. So first one, -1, second one, -2, third one, -3, fourth one, -4. You're joking me. Fifth one, 0. Would you believe that? Would you believe that? 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. Somebody please tell me in the comments how likely that is to happen. 0, -1, -2, -3, -4. I can't believe that. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay. So we don't get any further resources from Voice of Ra, even though we've drawn 5 tokens from the bag. Give that a good shuffle up. That was her first action, so she's now got 6 resources, so she can put a couple of things into play. Let's just do a little bit of setup. I think just going to pay 2 for the Crystal Pendulum, which gives me +1 skill, +1 will, in fact. And then she's going to pay 3 to bring out the good old Azure Flame, just in case she needs it. And so that's going to have 4 charges on it. 3, 4. So that was her second action to do that. And her third action, there is a reason for doing this. I'll spend my last action to gain a resource, which will then give me 3 resources. When I start my turn, I've got Scrying Mirror and Ineffable Truth in play, or could get them into play. So a little bit of a setup turn there for the investigators. We'll now move on to the enemy phase. There is only the man in the pallid mask, and we know from previous games that he does not move, he just stays there until we decide to try and do something with him. So the enemy phase is all done. We move into the upkeep phase. So we ready any cards. Oh, sorry, we reset our actions. So we're going to do a reset our actions. Harvey's going to get his 3 back. Jacqueline's going to get her 3 back. Ready any exhausted cards. We don't need to worry about that. We draw a card and gain a resource. So Harvey gets a resource. Jaqueline gets a resource. Harvey draws a card and he gets I've got a plan. So he's got Occult Invocation now, and I've got a plan in play or in his hand. That's good. Jacqueline's going to draw a card and she's going to get Hypnotic Gaze. Excellent. We check our hand size, they're all fine. Harvey hasn't got anything that increases his hand size at the moment, but he's only got 4, so he's good. So that's the end of the upkeep phase. We don't need to do anything else in that. We then move on to the Mythos phase. We place a Doom on there. 1 of 2. So we're all good. We check to make sure that we've not reached the Doom threshold, which we haven't. And then we go to the good old encounter phase. And we'll do it as we always do. Harvey's going to draw first as lead investigator, and he's going to draw corrosion. This is a revelation. Discard item assets from play and or your hand with a total printed cost of at least X, where X is the shroud value of your location. If no cards discarded by this effect, corrosion gains surge. So we need to discard something worth 3. Oh God. He has no items in hand. He's got higher education, which is a talent, feed your mind, which is a spell, occult invocation, which is a spell, and I've got a plan, which is an insight tactic. The only item that he has got in play is the poor old Iskabitsumar, so that's gone. So I'm not going to gain surge on that. Never know what's going to happen. So that's, let's just move those across a little bit. So I've got discard pile from the encounter deck. There we go. And then we're going to do the card for Jaqueline, which is Straitjacket. Revelation. If there is no copy of Straitjacket in your threat area, put Straitjacket into play in your threat area as an asset. It takes up a body slot and 2 hand slots. Return each asset in these slots to your hand. Well, we haven't got anything out for that. This card cannot leave play except by the ability below. Take 2 actions to discard Straitjacket, and so the actions sync starts. That's one thing this game is very good at, is so we've got that in play now in our threat area. It's removing actions. Hey ho, it's one of the tactics. Okay, that's it for the Mythos phase. We then go into the investigation phase. Okay. Well, I think I'll go first with Jaqueline because her turn's going to be fairly short-lived. So she's going to spend 2 actions to get rid of the straitjacket. I was hoping to move into the infirmary at this point, but I'm not going into the basement. At this point, I don't know. Going into a basement's never very good. There's patient confinement cards, so you can only assume that potentially they would be linked to the basement hall. I would have thought, I can't see them being in the mess hall, the kitchen, the yard or the garden. So my deduction is it's going to be something to do with the basement. So steer clear of that for a second. So 2 actions to get rid of straitjacket, and a third action is to spend 3 resources to bring out the Scrying Mirror. And it comes in with 4 secrets on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like the way these tokens show up on the camera. Just a little plug, as I always do. I'm not related or sponsored or anything like this, but LCG tokens on Etsy, where I got all my tokens from. Really good, really high quality tokens, tactile, nice and vibrant on the table, and also very, very, very good in regards to price. You can buy whole sets, you can buy all sorts of stuff, and they've been keeping up with latest releases on different types of tokens and stuff, so you can get all your bits and bobs from LCG. Thoroughly recommend them. So that is, I unfortunately, that is it for Jacqueline. That's her turn done. So we're going to move on to Harvey. He's only got one resource, so he's not going to be doing too much in that regards. I am going to spend one to pay 0 to bring in higher talent. I'm doing this for later game. I'm going to spend my second action to draw a card. Oh, sorry, Harvey gets his special ability back, as does Jacqueline. Harvey will spend his special ability for his second action to draw a card, which means he draws 2. So we're going to get a weakness. That's 2 weaknesses in 2 draws. I think, virtually. Put nihilism into play. In your threat area, forced after you reveal or cancel or ignore the auto fail token, take 1 damage and 1 horror. 2 actions to discard nihilism. And because of his special ability, he's going to draw his second card, which is Vault of Knowledge. 3 cost, Harvey Vault of Dex only, increases his hand size by 2. And after I successfully investigate, I can exhaust Vault of Knowledge and choose and draw a card effectively. So that feeds in with his special ability. So we'll need to spend some time getting that into play. So his second action was to draw a card. I want to get Vault of Knowledge into play. So what I'm thinking here is that although I'm not getting the clues at the moment, which is a pain, if I get Vault of Knowledge into play, by getting a resource now, third resource will come in. I can play with Vault of Knowledge next turn and then start investigating the clues, which then means I'm going to get cards and using Harvey's ability as well. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend my last action to gain a resource, which by the time I get to the next turn will give me 3 resources to play Vault of Knowledge. Doesn't feel like we're doing too much at the minute, but we are quite well set up. So that's it for the investigation phase. We then move on to the enemy phase. Rinse and repeat from last time. Man in the pallid mask is not going to do anything, he's going to stay there. We then move into the upkeep phase. We'll get our resources back. Sorry, we'll get our actions back. 3 for Harvey, 3 for Jacqueline. Ready and exhausted card, we don't need to worry about that. Be nice for Jacqueline to get some of her health soaps out, but we haven't come across those yet. But anyway, ready and exhausted cards, which we've done. We draw a card and we get a resource. So Harvey goes to 3 resources, Jacqueline gets her 1. We draw a card. Harvey is going to get Preposterous Sketches, draw 3 cards. Play only if you've got clues on, so that's quite cool. We'll need that maybe later. And Jacqueline is going to get Shriveling. Shriveling, excellent. So we've got 2 offensive spells there that if needed. So we can just hold fire on that for a second. Check our hand size. Harvey's still, he's at 4, 5 in fact, so we've got higher educations in play at the moment. And Jacqueline has only got 3 hard cards, so she's fine. So that's it for the upkeep phase. We'll then move on to the Mythos phase, and let's see what we get. Harvey is going to draw into. Don't look, Jacqueline. Cannot commit skill cards to skill tests. Discard Whispers in Your Head for 2 actions. So got nihilism in play, which is 2 actions to get rid of, and he's now got this peril in play, which means he can't play skill icons, which is a bit of an annoyance. So 4 actions there to get rid of those 2. And then Jacqueline is going to draw a Roach Swarm. Comes into play in her threat area, Shroud value of 3. Well, Azure Flame can pretty much deal with that, I think. So that will come into her threat area down here. We'll need to deal with that next turn. Okay. Oh. Bloody hell, nearly forgot. Should have done this first of all. 2. We place the Doom first of all. That then kicks into locked inside. My apologies, we're doing this slightly out of order. So we're going to get the patience. Speaking with the patients is proving more difficult than you assumed. They eye you cautiously and refuse to answer any of your questions, backing away or fleeing if confronted. Either they're not used to your guests or something about you is causing them a considerable amount of distress. Some act like animals backed into a corner and you think at any moment they might strike. Shuffle the encounter discard pile and each set aside lunatic enemies into the encounter deck. The lead investigator must then randomly choose an enemy from among the set aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. Okay, so let's do that first of all. So we've got the cards here for putting back into the encounter deck. That's just done. I think these are the lunatics here. Let's just double check. So these are the lunatic cards, and we'll just place them in. And then we'll do a shuffle. And what we will do is make sure we give it a good shuffle. Get the chair for a second. We'll do a pro shuffle, so make sure they've been given a good old shuffling. Get in there. So that's the encounter deck all sorted. Oops. This one. Get this one. Put that in there. Give it another shuffle. Right, that's shuffled. This is the monster deck, and we'll just choose one at random. Take that one from the bottom. Put that there for a second. I'm not going to put it under the act deck, but I'm going to put it there at the top, so we know that's effectively under the act deck. Okay, which is what so we've done everything on the card there that it's told us to do. We'll then look at Act 2A. Torturous Descent. The longer you spend in this hellish place, the more you want to leave. Already it has felt like days. You fear that you are stuck here, you fear that if you are stuck here much longer, you'll become like the patients, a husk of your former self, unruly and dangerous. A 7 doom on that one. And the final thing we need to do is just take off these 2 doom, put them back in the token pool, and then we're drawing our cards because we've done that. I've got a bit carried away and started drawing cards before I've done anything else. Okay, blimey. I don't feel like I'm making any headway at the minute. Got so many things that need to be sorted out, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So we're going to go into the investigation phase. Let's start the ball rolling. I am going to spend 2 of Harvey's actions to get rid of that flipping peril, unfortunately, which does bugby tackle him a little bit. And I am going to then spend my last action, spend 3, to put in Bolt of Knowledge. Nihilism is still in play. I'll just put that up there for the time being, so we know what we're doing. We'll put Bolt of Knowledge into play. It increases his hand size by 2. Hopefully then we can make a start. I may well be playing this completely wrong, but hey ho. Right, so off to Jaqueline. She's got a roach swarm to deal with. It's a fight of 3. And fight of 5. Yeah, so first thing we're going to do is going to spend an action and we're going to take a charge off of Zero Flame to fight with her head. Her willpower rather than her fight value deals +1 damage. She will spend her ability here at this point to draw 3 tokens, ignoring 2. So it's 3 versus 6, because 5 we've got the Crystal Pendulum in play. And after a skill test at your location begins, exhaust Crystal Pendulum, name a number. If a test succeeds or fails by that number, then draw a card. So we'll tap that. I'm at 6. The rat swarm is at 3, so I'm +3. Give this name a number. If this test succeeds by that number, I'm going to say 3. I'm going to say 1. I'm going to say 1. And -1. So I should have said 2. I was going to say 2, but there we go. So I'm at 6. -1 is 5. It's at 3. Did I say 2 or 1? 1 I said. So yeah, I still succeed and do 2 damage to it, but I don't get to draw a card. So the roach swarm is dead. That was my first action. Oh, actually, bloody token back in. I should have drawn 2 more. I could have chosen then. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Stop trying to run ahead of the game, NB. Stop trying to run ahead of the game. But we still killed the roach swarm, so that's her first action. Her second action is going to be to move. I'm going to go into the infirmary and reveal that. And it has got Shroud of 3. An action, heal 1 damage and take 1 direct horror. Or heal 1 horror and take 1 direct damage. It's got a victory point of 1. And it's got 2 clues on it, so we need to get those clues off that. Okay. So that was her second action, because she fought and then she's moved. Her second action, 3 versus 3. Three versus 3. Got nothing to chuck at it. Could do with a clairvoyance at this point. Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. Her third action is going to be to try 3 versus 3. No, third action is going to be to draw a card. The third action is going to be to draw a card, and she's going to get another hypnotic gaze. So she's alright, she's pretty good at taking monsters out in a minute, but she can't get to some clues. Okay, so that is it for Jacqueline. We then move on to the enemy phase. We've dealt with the enemy, the roach swarm that was in play. Man in the Pallid Mask is going to just chill up at the top there. We're then going to move into the upkeep phase. We'll get all of our actions back. Going to ready any exhausted cards. So Crystal Pendulum comes back into play. Gonna draw a resource, get a resource, draw a card. So Harvey gets a resource, Jacqueline gets a resource. Harvey is gonna get Arcane Enlightenment. Maximum hand size is increased by 1, and he can have an additional hand slot, which is for a tone. That's quite handy. And Jacqueline is going to get, please believe clairvoyance, dark future, a weakness. Revelation, put dark future into play in your threat area. Cannot cancel any of the symbols, and at the end of my turn reveal 5 random tokens from the chaos bag. If the elder sign is drawn, then we can discard dark future. Delightful. Okay, that's it for the upkeep phase. We then move on to the Mythos phase, do it in the right order, MB. So we put 1 Doom on Torturous Descent. Check the Doom, we're all good. And then we draw a card for each of our investigators. So Harvey's going to go first. He's going to get Gift of Madness. It's a hidden one, so don't listen, Jacqueline. Revelation, secretly add Gift of Madness to your hand. You cannot attack lunatic enemies. Action, randomly choose 1 enemy from the set aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. Discard Gift of Madness from your hand. They're really kiboshing Harvey at the minute. With all these different things. He can't get to the point where he needs to get to. And then we'll draw a card for Jacqueline, who's going to get a young psychopath. 2 fight, 2 health, 3 evade, forced. After young psychopath engages you, you must either take 1 horror, or young psychopath gets +3 fight until the end of the round. No, I'm not going to give you +3 fight, so I will take 1 horror on Jacqueline, and that comes into play. Engaged. Let's shift these across. Jacqueline gets the young psychopath. At least she's got the skills to be able to do it. Okay. That's it for the Mythos phase. We're going to the investigation phase. Again, I don't know whether I need to spend the 2 actions to ignore the auto fail. I could be wrong on that, but I'm going to leave nihilism in place at the moment. I will spend an action to get rid of Gift of Madness. Randomly choose a monster. Let's get it underneath here. This is the monster deck. We'll randomly choose a monster, take 1 from the bottom, we'll put it up with the other one near the agenda. So there's 2 on there now, and we get rid of Gift of Madness. That was our Harvey's first action. Second action, 3 versus 6. So I'm going to investigate the asylum halls. Harvey is 5 naturally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 5 cards in play. So I will spend a resource to get +1 because Whit Green's not kicking in at the moment because I haven't got a tome or a relic in play because disc is gone and this is a talent, that's a talent. So I will spend one resource to get +1. So I'm at 6 versus 3. 6 versus 3. And we get a skull, -1. If you fail, randomly choose an enemy from the set side monster deck. We don't. 6 versus 3, -1, we win by 2. So we do successfully investigate and get the clue from there. Oh, sorry. We get the clue from here. Goes onto Harvey's sheet. And as a reaction, Harvey gets his special back. Jaqueline gets the special back. As a reaction, Harvey will exhaust Vault of Knowledge to draw 1 card. And he will then use his special ability to draw 2 cards. So Harvey is going to get another I've Got a Plan and a Laboratory Assistant. Cool. Laboratory Assistant's probably a throwaway at this point with Whit Green in play, but we've got 2 I've Got a Plans, which is good. We've got an Occult Invocation, so we're starting to build up with Harvey. So that was his second action, because the first action was to get rid of Gift of Madness. Second action was to investigate. Third action, I'm going to investigate again, and I will chuck Laboratory Assistant at it to make it a 6 versus 3 again. 6 versus 3. And we're going to get a 0. So he's successful. Gets the second clue. We've already exhausted Vault. Gets the second clue off of our Asylum Halls. That's good. We've tapped Vault of Knowledge. So that's all gone. Haven't got any resources. Nothing else there. So that's Harvey all done. Let's just make sure I know what I've got. That's good. Okay. That's a slightly better turn for Harvey. Jaqueline's got a young psychopath to deal with. It is only fight 2. Fight 2, 5, 6. Yeah. So we'll just do a straight up Azure Flame. We can't, Dark Future, we cannot ignore any symbols, so I'm not going to do her special at this point. So she's 5, 6 with the Crystal Pendulum against 2. So -4 or better for her first action. -4. Good job we had the Crystal Pendulum in play, otherwise that would have failed. But we are successful. It does +1 damage. And we didn't reveal an Elder Sign +1 or a 0, so we don't need to take any damage. So it does 2 damage to the young Psycho, which kills it. That was her first action. She really needs to get some clues. She's got nothing really that's going to help her with clues at the moment. So I think we'll probably end up swapping some spaces. So if 333. I'm going to spend 2 actions. I think I need to get a bit of a chivvy on, and I'm going to move 1, 2 to be with Harvey in the asylum halls, ready for her to move on into these. Be nice for be nice anyway. Yeah, okay, cool. So that's her turn done. We then move into the enemy phase where we killed the young psychopath, so we haven't got to worry about that. No other enemies in play apart from the man in the pallid mask, which is good. We'll go on to the upkeep phase. We will get all of our actions back. Bottle of knowledge will come back on stream. We gain a resource and we draw a card. Harvey is going to get Arcane Enlightenment, and Jaqueline is going to get another weakness. At least they're out. Revelation, add psychosis to your threat area after you take 1 or more horror. Oh, I will just go back. My apologies. I will just go back on Dark Future at the end of that her turn. I draw 5 cards. I will spend her special ability to draw 7. Sorry, I am going to do that. Do it. So 7. We've got 1. We've got 2. We've got 3. We've got 4. We've got 5. We've got 6. And we've got 7. Bloody hell. Just. It's a good job I used the Jacqueline's card. So it's +2 for that. So we're taking 7 random tokens. So we get to discard Dark Future. Goodness. Those go back into the chaos bag. Do a good couple up. Right. Okay. Sorry, yeah. We've drawn our cards for the upkeep phase. We'll just check our hand size. Increased by 2, so he can take 10. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cards in hand for Harvey. Jaqueline has got 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're all good. We'll then move on to the Mythos phase. We'll add a Doom to the Doom. We've got 2. Now we're all good there, so it's 7, that's fine, we checked, that's good. And then we're going to draw an encounter card. We'll start off with Harvey. What's he going to get? He's going to get Ooze and Filth put into play, and next to the agenda deck, each location gets +1 shroud. At the end of the round, discard Ooze and Filth. So we'll just put that there, so we know it's in play. So that's Harvey's, and then we're going to get 1 for Jaqueline, who's going to get Corrosion. Discard item assets from play with a total printed resource cost of at least X, where X is the shroud value 4, and it would have to come into play after Ooze and Filth, wouldn't it? So item cards are up to 4. Discard item assets from play and or your hand with a total printed resource cost of at least X, where X is the shroud value of location. If no cards are discarded by this effect, then Corrosion gains Surge. Oh, that's so annoying. That is so annoying because I'm going to have to discard both the Crystal Pendulum and the Scrying Mirror. They're both items. I've got no items in my hand, and I have to up to the value of 4 because of flipping ooze and filth. I wouldn't have lost the Crystal Pendulum had that not come into play. But anyway, it is what it is. So the Scrying Mirror is going to go into my discard pile, as is the Crystal Pendulum. That is disgusting. That is disgusting. That goes. We're at the end of the Mythos phase. We move into the investigation phase. Start off with I'll start off with Jaqueline, who is quite simply going to spend 2 actions to discard Psychosis because she really cannot take any damage. She's at 5, so she's taking horror is fine, but then taking direct damage will kill her. So Psychosis is going to go for 1. She's got 3 resources and 1 action left. So we've got a choice of Ineffable Truth, which is evading and it deals 1 damage to an evaded enemy, or we've got Shriveling. We've got 2 charges left on Azure Flame. I'm going to spend 3 and an action to bring in Shriveling, just in case. Just in case. Comes in with 4 charges. Give me charges. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shriveling done. And that is Jacqueline done. Harvey is going to continue his search for clues. Now I can I could bring the... No, I can't. I won't do anything actually. So we've only 1 resource. So let's... +1 shroud, so that's 4. 4 versus 5. Check a Torturous, get 6 versus 5. 6 versus... No, sorry, 6 versus 4. It's worth a victory point. So yeah, are we going to move twice to the infirmary? I get some victory points. 1, 2. And then we're going to have a go at... getting some clues. So I am going to keep that resource. I'm not going to use higher education. So I'm at 5 naturally. I'm going to chuck in a preposterous sketches. Chuck in a preposterous sketches to give me 6. And then I'm going 6 versus 4. 6 versus 4. Actually, I'm going to chuck in Feed Your Mind as well to make it 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. Oops. 7 versus 4, and we get a -1. So we get the clue. We do get the clue. We're then going to tap Vault of Knowledge. We've tapped Vault of Knowledge to draw a card, and Harvey hasn't used his special at the moment. So he will use his special to draw 2 cards. And he's going to get Mind Over Matter and Solano Fragments. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cards now. We've spent his special. That's good. We've got another clue. That was his 3rd action. So we're getting there. Just need some resources now. We need some resources. Okay. That was the investigation phase. Go to the enemy phase. There aren't any enemies in play apart from the man in the pallid mask. So we go on to the upkeep phase. We ready any cards. We also get our actions back. I'll do this in the right order. Try and get our actions back. Ready all exhausted cards. Draw a card, gain a resource. Harvey gets the resource. Jaqueline gets a resource. We draw a card. Harvey's going to draw into another Mind Over Matter. Jaqueline's going to draw into a Please Be a Clairvoyance. Parallel Fates. We've got the top 4 cards for the encounter deck. Reveal a random cut taken. If it's shuffle those cards in. Okay. It's a good wild card symbol there. So that is it for the upkeep phase. Nothing else to do there. Ooze and Filth now goes. It's the end of the round. We then move into the Mythos phase. We place a Doom on the agenda, sorry. So we're at 3 of 7. Need to get Shivy on here and get through these investigations. We're nearly there. Got 1 more to get for Harvey. So that's the Doom bit done. We'll draw a card for Harvey. See what he gets. Corrosion. Discard item assets from play and your hand with a total printed cost of 3. No items in his play area. No items in his play area. 3. No item assets. He's got Solano Fragments, which is 1, which means I can't discard item assets from play and from your hand, and/or from your hand, with a total printed cost resource of at least X, where X is the shroud value of the location. 3. If no cards are discarded by this effect, then corrosion gains surge. Well, I can't discard cards up to 3 because I haven't got any. I've only got Solano Fragments, which is 1, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do surge. He's going to surge it. So he's going to get a Mad Patient. Spawn nearest Asylum halls. Prey, most remaining sanity. Forced. When you attack Mad Patient, take 1 horror. So nearest Asylum halls is going to be there. 2 health, which is fine. That was Harvey. I'm sorry. Then we're going to go to Jacqueline, who is going to get straight jacket again. Yep. So straight jacket goes straight into her play area. He's now got it in play. That's it for the Mythos phase. We're going to go to the investigation phase. Right. Try and take that mad patient out, I think. Oh, both get our specials back. So well, Jacqueline is going to go 2 actions. Spend her 2 actions to get rid of the straight jacket. What? Amount of things it takes 2 actions in this game. And 3rd action, she's going to draw a card and hopefully delve in. Got 2 clairvoyants in there. Come on, clairvoyants. Scrying Mirror. Okay. It's not too bad. Not going to move in with 1 action. So Harvey, first of all, he is going to spend an action to investigate. Actually, no. First action. Pay 1. To bring in the Solano fragments. He has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand, so Solano fragments is in play. And now Witten Green is in play as well. So we'll spend his 2nd action to investigate the infirmary. Which is going to be his 5, 6, 7 versus 3. 7 versus 3, which he's going to run with. Seven versus 3. That's -1. We don't fail because it's you have to fail to randomly choose an enemy, so we don't fail. And he wins that. He gets the clue. He gets the clue. That's 4 clues now. We will tap Bolts of Knowledge and play his special to get 2 cards. Investigate, gain 2 resources. Deduction, get 2 clues, or get an additional clue. Excellent. His current hand size is increased by 2. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 2 Mind Over Matters, we've got 2 I've Got a Plans, we've got an Occult Invocation, we've got 2 Arcane Enlightenments, and we've got a Burning and a Deduction. So Harvey's in not a bad spot. Not a bad spot. So that was his 2nd action. He needs to start getting some resources. I don't want to move in and engage the mad patient. We do get the victory point for the infirmary, which is cool. Do get the victory point for this. I'm not going to move in at this point and engage. I think that Jacqueline will do that next turn, and she can Azure Flame or Shrivel the thing. Hopefully, if the counter deck plays ball. And then Harvey's going to start moving across to clear out some of this stuff down here. Or he could go into the basement. I think the bear plays up here, in all honesty. Still got a few turns left, but I'm not even past Act 1 yet. Those early action sinks have really put us behind, I think. But we are where we are. It's just a game. So for his last action, I think he's going to get a resource. Start getting some other stuff in play. So that's it for the investigation phase. We move on to the enemy phase. Mad Patient just stays where it is. It's not a hunter. So it's going to just stay there. Pallid Mask is just going to continue to chill. Upkeep phase. We get our resources back. Or sorry, we get our actions back. We ready Vault of Knowledge. We gain a resource. We draw a card. Harvey is going to get another Burning the Midnight Oil. Excellent. Jaqueline is going to get David Renfield. 2 cost. When he's got at least 1 Doom when we get +1. I'm not going to put Doom on him because I don't think I need the plus head. But more importantly, he's 2 health. So he's going to be going into play next turn. So that's all done. Check our hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Jaqueline. Harvey is now getting loads of cards. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he's at his limit now. We don't really need to be continuing to do Bolt of Knowledge. Let's try and cycle through some of these cards. I don't want to be drawing cards and then having to get rid of them. There's no point in that. Get some resources up. We can do some investigating with that. We need to get to a position to investigate that. So yeah, okay. So that's it for the upkeep phase. We move into the Mythos phase. We place a Doom. We're now at 4, so we're over halfway. The second agenda. And we'll then check the agenda, check the Doom, we're fine. We then move into drawing a card. Harvey is going to get Ooze and Filth. So everything's increased by 1. Shroud value. Live with that, to be fair. And then Jaqueline is going to get Walls Closing In. Test Will 5, where X is the shroud value of your location. That Ooze and Filth comes in just at the right time. If you fail, you must either take 1 horror for each point you fail by, or randomly choose 1 enemy from among the set aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it. Test. So it's 4 for her because she's in the asylum halls. So the shroud value is 4. She is 5. So she is 5. Okay, she will chuck in a 6 from Parallel Fates with the wild card. So 6 versus 4. Nothing else I can chuck at it. 6 versus 4, so we're currently 2 up, and she will spend her special to draw 3 tokens and ignore 2. So 6 versus 4. 3 tokens out. First one is going to be an auto fail. Second one is going to be a 0. Third one is going to be a right. Because she used her special, she's going to ignore that. But then this kicks in. That's 0, which is fine. I can't ignore both of these. If you ignore the auto fail, you can't ignore these 2. So this one is -4 base shroud, actually -3. It's the base shroud. So she was 6 versus 3. Let me just get this calculation right. She is 5 normally. She is 5 normally. 6 for parallel fates. I think she's fine. That is -3 because the base value of Asylum Halls is 3, so it's -3, so it's a pass. I think I've got that right. Mythos Phase over and done with. We go on to the investigation phase. Just going to pause at that point. Right, pull back. So we're on to the investigation phase. Who is going to go first? I really could do with. So let's move things on a little bit. First of all, going to spend 1 action and pay 2 for Jaqueline. Pay 2 of her resources. Bring out David Renfield. Gives me an additional 2 health, which takes him up to 7, which is good. Then she's going to move. Going to move into the mess hall. To here. We'll turn it over. And we get 2 shroud, 2 clues per investigator, victory point versus 1. Forced. After you successfully investigate the mess hall, choose and discard 1 card from your hand. Okay. That sounds like it's a bit of a job for Harvey when he's ready. So she's going to be there. But she has revealed it for Harvey. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Harvey's going to get a bit of time to get there. Wow, shroud value of 2 though, so she could potentially do this. We've already used her special, but she's 3, 4 with Scrying Mirror. Yeah, we need clues. We need clues. So first action to play David, second action to move. Third action to investigate. She could get rid of an hypnotic gaze. So yeah, third action, part of the investigate, she's going to chuck Scrying Mirror in to take it to 4. 4 versus 2. 4 versus 2, and she gets +1. Awesome. Well, slightly awesome. So she's going to get that clue. That goes on her player board. So she's got the clue. And she will discard a hypnotic gaze, unfortunately. But worth it to get the clue, I think. She's pretty set up. She's got ineffable truth to play as well if she gets some resources. So that's it for Jaqueline. Harvey is going to move for his first action into here, which engages the patient. Let's put him or her there. Harvey's going to be at the Asylum Halls. So the mad patient is now engaged with us. Now what's he going to do? I'm going to have to play... Yeah. Going to play A2. To play I've Got a Plan. This attack uses your intellect instead of fight. You gain +2 intellect for this test, and you deal +1 damage for each clue, which is up to a maximum of 3. Bit of an overkill for this, but so 5, 7. I've got more cards in hand. 8. I've got a tome in hand. 9. So 9 versus 2. 9 versus 2, and we're going to get a 0. Oops, sorry, we're going to get a 0, which means we do 1, 2, 3, 4 damage to the mad patient, which kills it. Mad patient is gone. That was Harvey's second action. And third action is to move to this asylum hall. Could have evaded it, but I'd rather kill it. Rather kill it. So that was Harvey's third action. So that's the end of the investigation phase. We go on to the enemy phase. We only do have Pallid Mask, who again is really chilling out in that garden. He's loving that garden. And then we move on to the upkeep phase. We're going to get all of our actions back. Doom. Doom. Going to ready any exhausted cards. There aren't any. Then we're going to draw a card, gain a resource. So Harvey gains a resource. Jacqueline gains a resource. Harvey's going to draw another Whitson Green, which at this point is going to be a useful book symbol. Jaqueline is going to get clairvoyance. Clairvoyance, please. Astral travel. Okay. We've put that back in our deck, so it might come in handy. You never know. Needs 3 resources, but it's handy to have. We'll check our deck's hand size. So Harvey is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which he can be. 8 normal. Hand size is increased by 2 by the Vault of Knowledge. So that's all good. I'm going to have to play some cards though next time. That's it for the upkeep phase. We then move into the Mythos phase. We put a Doom on the agenda, which takes us to 5. And then we go into drawing the cards. These delightful cards. So Harvey is going to get Don't Look Jacqueline. Can't trigger any free abilities. That's only relevant to higher education, which I'm not using at the moment, but it does add another card to our hand, which is going to be a bit of a pain. But I'll take that. And then Jacqueline is going to get Dance of the Yellow King. If there are no lunatic enemies in play, which there aren't, Dance of the Yellow King gains Surge. Otherwise, blah blah blah. There are no lunatic enemies in play. The man in the Pallid Mask is not a lunatic, so we'll surge that. And so Jacqueline is going to get Descent in Madness. If you have at least 3 horror on you, you lose 1 action surge. Well, no, we've not got any horror on us, so it's going to get surge. Third card, Don't Look. You cannot move more than once per turn. Okay, I think I'll take that. Actually, I think I'll take that. Right, investigation phase. Investigation phase. Jacqueline is going to move. One action. She's going to move into the kitchen, which reveals it. Action. If there are no clues in the kitchen, test will 2. If you succeed, remember that you have set a fire in the kitchen. Okay, so two clues on it. 1, 2. So that was her first action. Second action, she might as well have a go at. I've got both Jacqueline and Harvey have got their specials back. So we've only moved once, which is fine. Silly Revelation card. I'm going to keep that. I'm not going to spend 2 actions to get rid of that for the time being. I've got Astral Travel in play if I need it. I ain't got the resources for it at the moment, but hopefully that will build up. So she is going to go. She's a book 3. Oh, sorry, intellect of 3. So I'm at +1 at the moment. +1 at the moment. Yeah, she's going to have a go at investigating for her first action, and she will spend her special to draw 3 tokens, and I can cancel 2. So she's drawing 3 tokens, 3 versus 2. First token is that. Second token is that. Third token is that. Okay. Right, let's just read what it says. When an investigator at your location would reveal any number of chaos tokens, reveal an additional 2 tokens. Of the revealed tokens, choose and cancel 2 non-auto fail or 1 non-auto fail. Yeah. So we're going to choose that to cancel. And I believe these then stack. So that's -1, that's -1. God, yeah, that was the first one I pulled anyway. That was the first one I pulled. So even if I'd have not done it, so that's I'm going to say that's -2, which does mean I fail. And then that means one of the set aside monster enemies gets put into play. Yeah. Cheeky cut, and then we'll take that one. 3. Oh, excuse me. 3 monsters in play now. So that was her first action. Second action, sorry. I think her third action is to get a resource, because then she'll have 3 in play, which then opens up any of the 3 cards I've got in hand. Astral Travel, Ineffable Truth, or Hypnotic Gaze. So that was it for Jacqueline. She couldn't get the 2 clues off, unfortunately. Harvey is going to move for 1. And then he is going to have a look at his cards. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I need to play some cards here. Okay, let's get the ones I want to play out. So first of all, We're going to investigate. We're going to play deduction, which gives us +1 book. So let's just work out our stats. It's a shroud of hang on a second. Ooze and filth is in play. Sorry, I just needed to double check. Ooze and filth is in play, so it's 3. It's 3. And I'm 5, 6, 7. 3 versus 7. I'll take that. 3 versus 7. Three versus 7, and we're going to get a +1, which is awesome. +1, which means we're successful. So we gain an additional clue off it. 1, 2. I've got a few things to do here all at once, so just bear with me. How many cards have I got in hand? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to play one more in a second. So I will tap Vault of Knowledge just to draw a card. I'm not going to do his special ability. Preposterous Sketches. And then we're going to spend the 6 clues. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from Harvey to advance the act. So we've spent the 6 clues. We'll turn it over. It's going to be key to the basement. Turning a corner, you nearly bump into a nurse with a light brown hair and sharp features. You tell her about the violent patients and the strange things that you've seen, but she doesn't listen. When you inquire about David, she informs you that he is a patient of Dr. Minster and that he resides in the secured basement level. Unfortunately, she refuses to let you into the area. So I've got 4 options. I can test fight, I can test agility, or I can test intellect. Well, let's test intellect, clearly. Intellect of 4. Harvey is 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. I'll discard a Preposterous Sketches to take me to 8. So 8 versus 4. Joking. You're joking. Okay. So we failed that. We can choose another one. We can choose another one. Agility, any investigator. 2. Don't want to chuck those cards away. Actually, I'm going to choose to knock her out. Knock her over and grab the keys. Remember that you took the keys by force. So we're going to take it by force. I can't believe I drew the flipping auto fail. So we took it by force. So we move on to agenda 2A. Read the really bad ones, version 1. Daniel is somewhere in the secured basement where the most dangerous patients are kept. Now that you have the key, you can explore this area of the basement. Ignore the text on the unrevealed side of Arkham Horror's. Yeah, so we can ignore those. Find the patient confinement location with Daniel Chesterfield. So we can ignore the basement and we can ignore the garden. Okay. All right. So that was Harvey's second act. So I'm going to try and get the clue to get the victory point. So for his third action, he's going to investigate, but he's going to use burning the midnight oil. Burning the midnight oil. So 2, so 5, 6, 7. We'll take that. As per usual, we'll take it. Watch all that bloody auto fail again. That one. Minus 0. So good. We get the clue. We get the clue. And we got the victory point. That's awesome. We got the victory point for that. I'll just put a token on each of those just to remind me that we've got the victory point for that and the victory point for that. That's cool. So that's it for the investigation phase. The enemy phase, there are no enemies in play. Apart from the man in the pallid mask who's continuing to chill out in the garden. We're going to go into the upkeep phase. We'll get our actions back. So Harvey gets his 3. Jacqueline gets her 3. We ready any exhausted cards. Vault of Knowledge comes into play. We draw a card and gain a resource. So Harvey gets a Freed Your Mind. Jacqueline gets a Clairvoyance. Here we go. And check our hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Jacqueline, and Harvey's gonna have to discard some. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, he doesn't. He's got 10. Fine. I did do that right. We then go on to the Mythos Phase. We add a doom to the agenda. It's now at 6, so we've got 1 turn left. Yeah, and then we're going to draw a card for Harvey. Who's in Filth goes. We draw a card for Harvey. Mad Patient, the nearest hall. So she's going to go there. And then we're going to get one for Jacqueline, who is going to get another straight jacket. Third straight jacket for Jacqueline. Awesome. That's going to go into her threat area. There. She has got a clairvoyance now. Okay. That's it for the Mythos phase. We go into the investigation phase. Bloody straitjacket. Jacqueline's going to go first. She's going to spend 2 actions to get rid of the straitjacket. Shroud of 2. She's at 3. I'm not chucking clairvoyance at it. But we do need to clear the clues off of that to try and do that action, I think. So 2 versus 3. She's going to gain a resource for her last action. Because then in her next turn she could get 4 to play clairvoyance for 1 and then start to clear those clues. So that's her done. Harvey's going to continue doing what he does with mad patience. Or does he move up? Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. Bear with me just for 2 seconds. I love it when a random thing pops up off my screen. You can go. Lucky pops. Okay, so Harvey's got 3 actions. First action is going to move into the asylum halls, which engages the mad patient. That was his first action. Second action. I'm going to save I've got a plan because that uses clues to deal damage up to 3, which is awesome. So I'm going to... It's got 2 health. I'm going to... So second action, he's going to pay 2 to play occult invocation. Discard up to 2 cards. I'm only going to discard 1. And I'm going to discard Arcane Enlightenment. I'll just put that underneath. I've discarded Arcane Enlightenment. So I'm going to get +1 and +1 damage for each card. So I'm 5, 6, 7, 8 versus 2. 8 versus 2. -1, we kill it. -1, we kill it. That goes into there. That was his second action. Third action, he's going to move into the asylum halls, ready to go down into the basement on his own. What's the worst thing that could happen to Harvey on his own? Bless him. And that was his turn done. We move into the enemy phase. No enemies in play. Killed them. Upkeep phase. We're going to get our actions back. We're going to ready any exhausted cards. We're going to get our special abilities back. We're going to draw a card. We're going to get a resource first of all. Let's make sure I do that. Draw a resource. And Harvey is going to get a card, which he gets Encyclopedia. Quite nice. Jaqueline is going to get another Parallel Plates. Nice for a wild card. We check our hand size. Harvey's the only one to really worry about. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got 9 in hand, so he's fine. Jaqueline has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so she's fine. That's it for the upkeep phase. We go into the Mythos phase. We add a Doom, which is 7, which means we then exalt. This one's going to turn over. Nasty things are going to happen. In the back of your mind, a force beckons you. Have you seen it? It calls to you. Glimpsing something in your peripheral vision, you turn and find a familiar symbol peering back at you wherever you look. It's etched upon the doors, drawn on the walls, painted on the patient's canvases. You cannot escape it. The lead investigator, Harvey, must randomly choose an enemy from the set-aside monster enemies and shuffle it into the encounter deck without looking at it. Check the campaign log. If Constance Main is listed under VIP's is not listed under VIP's slain, then spawn her in the garden. I think we did kill her. I'll just double check that in a sec. But choose an enemy from the set aside monsters and shuffle it into the encounter deck without looking. Doesn't say shuffle the discard pile into the encounter deck either. So we'll grab one of the set aside monsters, not one of the ones that's taken out. So there's 4. I'll take the bottom one, take that one. It's going to go into the encounter deck. That goes into there, and then we'll give these a good old shuffle. That weasel cut. And then that's going to go back there. Just tidy these up a little bit. Whoa. Good. We're good. Let me just check the campaign log for Constance. I'm sure we did kill her, but I just want to double check. So bear with me. Yep, just checking very quickly. She is listed under the VIP slain, so we don't have to worry about that. So that's that one gone. We set fire to everybody. So his dominion. Flee. Flee while you still can. When you replace an enemy beneath the act deck, shuffle that enemy into the encounter deck instead. Okay, and it's got 8 on it. 1. Take these off. Okay. Right. Still in the Mythos phase. So we've done the Doom bit. We've moved the agenda on. We've now got to draw a card. So we'll start with Harvey as per usual. He is going to get the yellow sign. Test willpower 4. If you fail, take 2 horror and search your deck for a madness weakness and draw that card and shuffle your deck. Okay, here's willpower 4. I think all of his weaknesses are out. Yeah. Willpower 4. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to willpower 4. We're going to chuck in an arcane enlightenment to take it to willpower 6. And we'll also chuck in an encyclopedia to take it to 7. So 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. We're going to get... Oh, you are flipping kidding me. You are flipping kidding me. I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. Okay. I might have to pause here for a second because nihilism is in play. That's a madness. And the only other weakness that he's got is in his discard pile. Search your deck. Not your discard pile. Search your deck for a madness card. He has got, I just looked at his deck, he has got Thrice Damned Curiosity, which is a weakness flaw. It's not a madness. So I'm going to shuffle those. And I can't do it because my weakness, my madness weakness is already in play. Oh, I should have taken the damage and a horror. I've done that twice, so I'm going to take 2 damage. I'm going to take 1 damage, 1 horror. Put 1 damage and 1 horror onto... My apologies, I missed that. Because nihilism is in play. I've done it twice, so that's fine. I've just sorted that out. That can go there. And then we're going to do Jacqueline's draw. She is going to get Mad Patient. Get the closest asylum call to her is here. So that's going to go there. That's it for the Mythos phase. We're on to the investigation phase. Okay. First of all, we are going to go to Jaqueline. It's going to spend 1 action. Got to do it. I've got to do it. To spend 4. I hate to do it, but I've got to do it. Spend 4 to play Clairvoyance, which is going to replace Azure Flame. I'll keep Shriveling. That's got more charges on it. Maybe the wrong play, but I need to get those clues off there to get those bits. Comes in with 3 charges. 1, 2, 3. She's going to send her second action and spend 1 of those charges to investigate. It's a Shroud of 2. Using her willpower, she is 5. She is 5. Could put Doom on Renfield, but I'm not going to. She is 5. 5 versus 2. Six versus 2 with parallel plates. 6 versus 2. 6 versus 2. -1, we get it. And we discover an additional clue at that location. It was a 0. Was it a 0? Oh, hang on, sorry. Oh, blimey, second guessing myself. But at the moment it was a -1, so I don't take the additional horror for it. But I do get the 2 clues. That was her second action. And for her third action, she will test willpower 2. If she succeeds, then she's going to set fire to the kitchen. Willpower 2 against willpower 5. She's going to get -3, which is just enough. So she has set fire to the kitchen. So again, we'll just put a little token in the top there to remind us that we have done that action. So if we need to check later on, we'll remember. So that was Jacqueline's first. That was Jacqueline's go. She spent her 3 actions, played clairvoyance, done the clairvoyance, and then done the action. Good, successful turn for her. Harvey is going to head into the basement hall. We can now ignore, because the basement hall currently says the door leading into the basement was locked, you cannot enter the basement hall. We ignore any text like that because of the act that we're on. So we're going to turn it over as he moves in for 1. After the basement hall is revealed, put the 4 set aside patient confinement locations into play. Okay. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, you can't really see those particularly well, but I'm running out of space. You can see they're there. Right, so the basement hall is connected to each one of these, but they're not connected to each other, so you have to keep going backwards and forwards. I'm not going to put any arrows out because it'll be a bit confusing. So the basement hall leads into one of those. So that was his first action to move in. There are 2 clues on it. It's a Shroud of 4. And it's got a victory point as well. So we need to clear these clues off. We need to clear these clues off, I think. What have we got? 4. We're at 5, we're at 6, we're at 7, 3 plus. So we're going to investigate, we're going to spend, so you're going to spend burning the midnight oil. When this action begins, gain 2 resources. So he will gain 2 resources. He will investigate. So he's at 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in hand, so we're all good. So he's at 7 versus 4, which for his second action. 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. 0, which means he gets it. Gets a clue. And then his third action, he's going to do the same thing. Is there anything you can chuck at it? Yeah, I'll chuck a feed your mind at it as well. To make it again. Actually, hang on. 5, 6, 7. I will chuck it because I'm not going to use Food Your Mind now to make it an 8, just in case. Get that last clue. Make an 8, and we're going to get okay. Okay. Take a damage and a horror through nihilism because I've revealed the auto fail token. That's it for the investigation phase. I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying a word. Right. Okay. Sorry, gone silent there. I've gone silent there. Right, we're on to the enemy phase. The mad patient is going to stay there. Doesn't move. Pallid man's going to stay there as well. We then move on to the upkeep phase. We get our actions back. Do get our actions back, and we ready any cards. There's none to ready. We get our special actions back. We then gain a resource. We draw a card. Harvey's going to draw cryptic writings. After you draw it, play it as a reaction. 0 cost. He gets 2 resources. And I have to get rid of this card now because I've got access to higher education. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that's in play. Okay. Jacqueline's going to draw a card. She gets Robes of Endless Night, which is good. Costs her 3, but it's another 2 health, so she's going to become a little bit more durable, which is the way I was hoping this deck was going to run, which seems to be okay at the minute. Check our hand size. We're both of them miles away from our hand size, so we move into the Mythos phase. We put a Doom on the agenda. We then draw a card for Harvey, who is going to get Dance of the Yellow King. Revelation. If there are no lunatics in play, there is a lunatic in play. The mad patient is a lunatic, strangely enough. Test willpower 3. If you fail, the nearest lunatic enemy readies, moves 1 location at a time until it reaches your location, engages you and makes an immediate attack. Okay. Willpower of 3, you say. I'm a static willpower of 4. I can't use higher education because I've got a peril in play, which doesn't allow me to use free triggers. It's as if this game knows what you've got in your hand. It's really weird. So willpower 4 against a willpower of 3. Let's see what we get. +1. Halle frickin' Lulia. Well done, Kale's bag. It finally worked. So that goes. That's Harvey's, and then we're going to draw Jaqueline's, which is going to get a Maniac. Forced. Oh, that's 4 health as well. After Maniac engages you, take 1 damage and deal 1 damage to Maniac. So it's going to engage. It is going to engage. Jaqueline. Oops, sorry. I'm going to engage Jacqueline. She takes 1 damage, which poor old David's going to take. That's why you're there, buddy. That's why you're there. Doesn't say direct damage, and we deal 1 damage. So it's 3 health now. Okay. Do need to crack on though. We do need to crack on. Right. So that's it for the Mythos phase. And now into the investigation phase. Three. Three. Fine. Okay, working this through, I am going to exhaust David Renfield to put a doom on him. Because I don't think he'll much longer for this world, buddy. So he's going to have a doom on him, which gives me +1 willpower. And then I'm going to... So that's a free action to do that. So first action is going to be a Shriveling against the Maniac. I'm going to be using my willpower instead of my fight. So 5, 6 versus 3. 6 versus 3. I am going to spend her special ability to draw 3 tokens. 6 versus 3. Oops. Come on. 6 versus 3. The first one is that. The second one is that. The third one is that. So I can cancel 2 of those, which means I'm going to cancel those 2 and take the -1, which means I am successful. 6 versus 3, -1, we're all good. That does 2 damage, +1 damage. We didn't reveal any of those tokens, sorry. We didn't reveal any of those tokens down here because we cancelled them. But we do +1 damage. So that takes them to 3 health, first of all. And then her second action is to do the same thing. But this time we're not going to be doing, obviously, her. So it says point of Shriveling. 6 versus 3 for her third action. Oops. Up. 6 versus 3. -3. 6 versus 3, -3, we still win. We do +1 damage, but that doesn't really make any difference. Maniac is dead. The Maniac is dead. But that was all 3 of her actions. Wasn't it? No. Hang on a second. No. 3 action to do David Renfield, and then 2 actions for Shriveling, so I've still got an action left. For her third action, she's going to move across to the mess hall. Yeah. Third action, move across to the mess hall. Try and clear the way for Harvey. Speaking of Harvey, Harvey's first action is to investigate. It's a 4. It's a 4. He is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cards in hand. So 5, 6, 7. 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4, and we will get -1. which was successful. We will get the clue. And we will, first of all, spend his special and tap Bolt of Knowledge. So I would draw one card, I would draw two cards. So he's going to get another Occult Invocation and a Solano Fragments. That's handy. That was his first action. His second action, he's going to move. And we might as well start off here. This one. He's going to move to this one. So we'll turn it over. And it's Familiar Cell. Two Shroud, one clue on it. Sorry, you can't really see this, but it's got as an action test will X, where X is the amount of horror on you. I've taken 3. No, I've taken 2 because I started off at 7 and I'm on 5, so I've got 2 horror on me. If you succeed, you recognise the room and remember you've recalled the way out. Okay, so that's oh, we've got a victory point over here as well. Just put that down so I remember I've got the victory point. So willpower of 4 against 2. Willpower of 4 against willpower of 2. Can't do anything about it at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can now get rid of whispers. That's 2 actions. So let's just go for willpower 4 against a 2. And we get -1. We've got it. So we'll put another token on there to say we've done that one. We know what we've done. Don't think I need the clues at this point. So that was his second action. First action was no, actually that was his third. That was his third. First action was to get the clue. Second action to move. Third action to test there. Okay, so we're done. We are done. Okay. Enemy phase. Mad Patient's going to continue to stay where the Asylum Hall is. We're going to move on to the Upkeep phase. And we're going to get all of our actions back. We're going to get all of our actions back. We're going to ready any exhausted cards. We're going to ready David. I need to kill him at some point before we get to the Doom area, which I'm sure we will be able to. We're going to get a resource. We're going to draw a card for each of them. Harvey's going to get a deduction. Jacqueline's going to get another David Renfield. So we could do a like-for-like replacement. Don't have to, but we could. And then that's it for the Upkeep phase. Oh, how many cards? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Jaqueline. And Harvey's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's fine. We're all good. We are all good. We're then going to move on to the Mythos phase. We're going to put a Doom on there. We're going to check, we're fine. It's 8 from 6. We are then going to draw a card for each of them. So Harvey is going to get... He's going to get a Maniac. He is going to get a Maniac. So that's going to go into his threat area. So we'll put it there. I'm going to take a damage. Down to 4. It's going to take a damage. We could kill it because I've still got a plan. So that's Harvey's go. And then the card for Jaqueline is going to be walls closing in. Test will, where will is the shroud value of your location 2. Right, okay. She is will 5, 6. 6 versus 2. 0. That's a 0. Either randomly choose an enemy monster from the set aside monster enemies and place it beneath the act deck without looking at it, or this test automatically fails. Okay. We'll put those in against, we'll put another one in. Pile. 4. And that's gone. That might be nasty later on. Okay, that's it for the Mythos phase. We're on to the investigation phase. Jaqueline is going to go first. Jacqueline's going to go first, and she's going to move up to the yard. Up to the yard. Flip it over. It's going to get 2 clues on it. If there are no clues on the yard, take an action, take 1 damage. Remember that you incited a fight against the patients. So, how much horror has she got on her? She hasn't got any. She hasn't taken any. So it's a shroud value of 1. So for her second action, I'm 2 up because her book is 3. She'll chuck a David Renfield at it to make it a 4. 4 versus 1. 4 versus 1. And we're going to get -1. So we get a clue off it. Oops. We get a 4 -1, so we get a clue off it. And then she's going to do, so that's her second action. Her third action is going to do the same thing. She's got any other books that she can chuck at it? No. So it's a 3 versus 1. 3 versus 1. -1. If we don't fail, we get the clue of it for a third action. So she's ready to do that next turn, hopefully. So that was quite a good turn for Jaqueline. She's going to get 3 resources in a bit, which means that she'll be having access to some of her stuff, but she's alright at the minute. Then we're going to do Harvey. Harvey's first action is to move back to the basement. And then his second action is to move to the next patient confinement, which is this one here. We'll turn it over. Dreary cell. So that was his second action, is to move to the dreary cell. It's one clue on it. Test book 2 to speak to a patient here. If you succeed, you're able to interpret her ravings, and you remember that you know the guard's patrol. Okay, so we'll spend an action. It doesn't say that the clues have to be missing off it. That's fine. So it's testing book of 4. Oh no, hang on, rewind. Right, let's take this back. Oh, my apologies. Got a maniac on me. Rewind. Bear with me a second. Sorry about that. Just wanted to double check that that enemy wasn't in play in the last enemy phase. It wasn't. I drew it in the Mythos phase. So just a quick rewind. Harvey is engaged with the Maniac. He's got a fight of 3. So we need to do something about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards. I think the first thing I'm going to do, annoyingly, is to spend 2 actions. Spend 2 of my actions to discard this silly card, which is stopping me from using free triggers. And then my third and final action is to try and kill the Maniac. And I'm going to play... I need to do 3 wounds to it, which I think I can, if I've got a plan. It's going to cost me 2. Uses my book instead of my fight, gets +2 for the test, and I deal +1 damage up to a maximum of 3 damage. Plus damage, +1 damage for a maximum of 3 damage. So I take it that's 4, but I need to do 3 anyway. Harvey has got access to his trigger point. He's not going to need it this turn, but so I've got it. So I'm currently 5. I'll just move this Maniac for a second. Be there. I'm currently 5. I've got more than 5 cards in my hand. 6. I've got a tome for 7. So that's 3 versus 7. So I don't actually need to spend the resources because it's +4. Unless I draw the token. So let's see what he gets. 7 versus 3. -3. We still beat it, and we do the maximum amount of damage, which I think is 4 +3 damage for the one natural. That's enough to kill the Maniac, and that is it for Harvey, unfortunately. He does kill another Maniac, and he's at the basement hall. He's at the basement hall ready to go back into, and I will go back to that area there because I've already revealed it, and that'd be unfair for me not to do that. That would be gamey, so I will go back there hopefully next turn. Okay, that's it for the investigation phase. We move on to the enemy phase. The mad patient is just going to hang about there. Man in the pallid mask is going to hang about there. No other enemies in play, just checking all of my decks. That's all good. We are going to go into the upkeep phase. We are going to get all of our actions back. So Jaqueline gets hers back. Harvey gets his back. We ready all the exhaust cards. There's no exhausted cards. We draw a card and gain a resource. So Harvey gets a resource, Jacqueline gets a resource. Harvey draws a card and he gets Christ Damned Curiosity. So he's going to take 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So he's going to take 2 damage. I'm going to put 1 damage on Witten, which kills her, unfortunately. Sorry, Witten. Witten goes there. So Harvey's then going to take 1 damage. Down to 3. Well, at least we know they're all out now. At least we know they're all out now. I do have another Witten in play in my hand. Jacqueline's going to draw a card. She is going to draw Shriveling, which she will obviously put into her hand. That's handy. We need it. Hard size, we're alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Jacqueline. And Harvey's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. So we're all good. Checkout size is done. That's upkeep phase over and done with. We'll move on to the Mythos phase. We'll put a Doom on there. We've got 5 turns left to do. We need to get rid of David. We do need to get rid of David because he's causing a problem. I might replace him with the other one just to get rid of the Doom. We'll try and take some damage. So that's it for the Doom bit. We're then going to draw cards for each of the individuals. We'll start off with Harvey as usual, and he will get a young psychopath. Okay, so it engages Harvey, and we have to take a horror, which I think we're quite capable of doing. I'm not going to give it +3 fight, no chance. So just move those out of the way. Young psychopath is going to come in to my threat area. And I'll take a horror down to 4. And then Jacqueline is going to get Delve into Madness. Surge. If you have at least 3 horror on you, which you don't, lose an action. So it's going to surge, and she's going to get Gift of Madness. Add it to my hand. Cannot trigger action abilities on locations. Oh, that's annoying. That's bloody annoying. Randomly choose one and oh. Right, I'm gonna have to do that because we need to trigger that one. That's it for the Mythos phase. We're going to go into the investigation phase. Well, first of all, we're going to go with Jacqueline, who is going to spend an action to get rid of this Gift of Madness. Randomly choose and put it behind underneath the act deck. There's only 2 left. That one. We could be in trouble. We could be in trouble. So that was her first action. Her second action is to do the action on the yard, which is if there are no clues on the yard, take 1 damage, which we will do. I'll come to that in a second. Take 1 damage, and remember you inside a fight amongst the patients. So we'll put a token on there to let us know we've actually achieved that one. And good old David Renfield is going to take the damage, and he's going to die. Thanks, David. Thank you very much, sir. You've done a sterling job there, buddy. So that was her second action. And I think for her third action, she is going to move across to the garden. And she's moving across to the garden, which will flip the garden. 3 shroud, 2 clues, 1 per investigator. Action: if there are no clues in the garden, test 2 agility. If you succeed, remember that you distracted the guards. Man in the pallid mask is aloof, so we don't have to worry about him. And put her there like that so we know where she is. You can just about see her on the screen. 3 shroud, testing agility. That's not great, but she's got some agility cards in hand actually, so that should be good. So that was Jacqueline's 3 moves. Right, we are now going to activate Harvey, who, as I said, is going to move across to the second area for 1 action, which was this one here. And it's got patient confinement, 3 shroud, 1 clue. 1 clue. As an action, test intellect 2 to speak to a patient here. Remember, you know the guard's patrols, so we will be doing that. That was his first action to move. Second action is going to do the test. Test of 2, so we should be fine at that. I'm currently 5, 6 now. 6 with the Solano fragments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So I'm not going to need. Oh no! Why do I keep forgetting? Right, back. Jeez, just literally just done the same thing as what I've done 5 minutes ago. Turn that back over. God, NB, what are you doing? Getting too. So let's deal with the young psychopath first. For his first action. 2 wounds. And I have to play or pay 2 for occult invocation. We will discard a card. I think at this point deduction isn't really going to matter, so let's chuck discard a deduction at it, so make sure we do the additional damage. So if, and we're gonna, yeah, so I'll just move that out of the way so I can see our invocation. So book instead of, or intellect instead of fight, we get +1 fight and +1 damage for this attack for each card. So we're at +1. So 5, 6, 7. 7 versus 2. We'll take that. 7 versus 2. 7 versus 2. Randomly choose an enemy monster, set aside and place it underneath the act. Or this test automatically fails. So we've only got 1 left, so that's going to go into all of them. We do pass it, which does 2 damage to the young psychopath, which is enough to kill it. So that was his first action. Second action, to move into the room, finally, which he's allowed to do now. So he's going to be there. It's got the 1 clue on it. Oh, sorry, I'm not seeing what I'm doing. Got the 1 clue on it. And then we will, well, his third and final action, test, do the test on there, test book of 2. So we know we're at 5, we're at 6. 6 versus 2. 6 versus 2. -1. Sorry, -1. So we pass. -1, which means that we succeed. So then we know that we've done that. Put that there. So we know we've done it. And Harvey stays there. That was his third and final action. Still yet to find Matey boy. Matey boy. Anyway. Okay. So we go into the enemy phase. Oops. Go into the enemy phase. There are no enemies. Let's just double check. Mad Patient is staying there. Man in the padded mask is done. We've dealt with the young psychopath. Ooh. No, we didn't investigate. We didn't investigate. That's fine. I was just looking at bottle knowledge for Harvey, but he didn't investigate. He done the action at the patient confinement. So no enemies in play that we need to worry about. We're going to move on to the upkeep phase. We're going to ready all of our resources and our actions. So we're going to get our 3 actions back. We are going to ready any exhausted cards, which there are none. We're going to gain a resource. And we are going to draw a card. Harvey is going to draw his laboratory assistant. He's only actually got 2 cards left. Laboratory assistant. And Jaqueline is going to draw Spirit Athenmate. That's good. Okay. That's good. Hand size, I think we're still good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Jaqueline, but she will be playing a couple of cards, or at least 1 card next turn. So that's fine. We'll then go into the Mythos phase. We'll put the Doom on the agenda. Takes us to 4, so we're halfway through. We need to do our very best now. Don't know whether we've got enough turns left, but hey ho, is what it is. And then we're going to draw a card. Harvey is going to get... God, oh no. Beast of Aldebaran. 3 fight, 7 health, 5 to evade, massive. When assigning damage and horror from Beast of Aldebaran's attack, you must assign as much damage and horror as possible to a single card before assigning it to another card. Victory of 1. Five, 7. We've still got 2 mind over matters, but hey. That comes into Harvey's threat area. That could be curtains. That could be curtains. But anyway. We'll move on. Jacqueline's going to draw a card. And she's going to get another one of those things. Cannot play events. Asset, event, event. Okay. Could have been worse. Could have been worse. We'll move on to the investigation phase. Oh, Harvey. It doesn't... Right, it doesn't... It's not got a hunter. The Beast of Aldebaran hasn't got a hunter. So if we can evade it... We can evade it. I think we can. We've got mind over matter. Yeah. Yeah. So let's go with Harvey first of all. This is the important one. He is going to spend one action to try and evade the Beast of Albaran. It's a 5 to evade. I will pay 1 to bring in Mind Over Matter. Fast, pay any during your turn. Until the end of your round, you may use your intellect in place of your strength and agility. So we're going to obviously replace the agility. So we're currently at 5. So it's 5 versus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 in hand. So we've not got Solano fragments in play. 4 in hand. But we will spend... Take it to 6, 7, 8, 9 for higher education. Ah, no. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Got to have 5 or more cards in hand, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Because I've played Mind Over Matter. Just take that back for a second. And put my 1 back. Okay. So first thing. Dicing with death. Gonna spend 1 to draw a card. Higher education. Higher education. Which does mean I get an attack of opportunity from the Beast of Albaran, which means I take 1 sanity, which I'll take off here. And I'll take 2 damage from the Beast of Albaran, which leaves me on 1. Which leaves me on 1. Okay, that's fine. Second action, going to evade. Spend 1 as a free fast action to play Mind Over Matter. Which is then, we're back where we were. We're going to be using our book as our agility, and we're currently at 5 versus 5. 5 versus 5. We are going to chuck Solano fragments for 6. Laboratory assistant for 7. Higher education for 8. Leave it there. There's a reason for doing this. So 8 versus 5. Yeah! Yes! Oh, finally! So we are successful. We evade the Beast of Albaran. We will draw... Oh, hang on a sec. Let me pause for a second. Okay, right, back. Just wanted to double check something. So we've successfully evaded the Beast of Albaran. So that's evaded. That goes into... put it there, like that. Now, one thing I wanted to check is because I'm gonna... No, we're successfully... Oh, we could draw a card. The Mythos ability. This ability allows me to draw a card. And I will play to get an additional card, but there's only one card left in my deck. And the thing I wanted to check was what happens when you run out, because I don't. Obviously, I'm playing Harvey right, so he's run out of cards. I take a horror and get my discard pile, draw the card, which is a disc of Intimar, and then I shuffle my deck, take an aura, shuffle in my deck, do a cheeky cat weasel cut. That comes back into play, and I draw my second card for the, which is a Witten Green. Bear with me 2 seconds. Oh. So that's that. My third action I'm going to pay 4 to bring in a Witten Green, which gives me 2 health. Actually, I'm not going to take my sanity off there. I'll take my sanity off here, which gets rid of that card. It goes to the discard pile. I think I'm going to leave it turned over so I don't know what it is. Oh, no. No. I'm not going to play Witten Green. No. 4 back. 4 back. I'm going to move back to the basement hall. So he hasn't got. Yeah, he's going to stay there. Just tap him for the time being. Oops. He's there. So that was my third action, was to move back to the basement hall. I'll leave that spot there ready for Witten Green next turn. So that is it for Harvey. Now, we're going to go back. We're going to go now to Jacqueline, who's up at the garden. She's got 2 clues on there. So she's going to try and investigate that area. So it's an action. But that's not an action. We need to investigate first of all. So she's going to spend, oops, to do a clairvoyance. So it's currently 3. She's using her will of 5. No, hang on a minute. For goodness sake, MB. Think about what you're doing. So her first action, she's going to pay 3. First action, pay 3 to bring in the spirit Athame. That's her first action. Her second action is to then do a clairvoyance. And I'm going to exhaust the spirit Athame to give me +2. So I'm 5, 7 versus 3. 7 versus 3. I will use her special ability to draw 3 tokens. Put that back in the bag. So she's going to get 3 tokens, discard 2. So the first one, second one, third one. So she will discard these 2 and leave the 0, which means she's successful. Clairvoyance allows us to discover an additional clue. So we get the 2 clues off of that. Okay, so that's 2 clues onto her. And then for her third and final action, she will attempt to do the, if there are no clues on the garden, test agility 2. Okay, third and final action is doing an agility test. She is 2 anyway. She is 2 anyway. So she is going to pay, so make it 3 with the endless roads. So that's +1, +2. Got hypnotic gaze. Two for hypnotic gaze. 3 for astral travel. So that's 5 versus 2. And she's going to pay the ineffable truth. 6 versus 2. 6 versus 2. 6 versus 2. 6 versus 2. She gets the 0. She didn't need to do all that, but there we go. She's done it. And she's done that. Put that on there to say that she's done it. And that is it for Investigator's turn. Where is bloody David? Daniel, even. Come on, Daniel. Play the game. So, that's the investigation phase. We move to the enemy phase. Nothing happens. And I think I've been doing it wrong. I think I've been readying these monsters in the monster phase. They don't ready at all until the upkeep phase. So he doesn't ready. Man in the Pallid Mask is still chilling out. We've got no other monsters in or enemies in play. So we move across to the upkeep phase. Jacqueline's going to get her actions back. Harvey's going to get his actions back. We're going to ready any exhausted cards. So Beast readies, but he's going to stay in the patient confinement. Thank goodness. He's not a hunter. So that's good. We know we've done that one. We get to draw a resource, or gain a resource, and we get to draw a card. Harvey is going to get Thrice Damned Curiosity. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4 cards in his deck. He takes a damage. He takes the damage, which kills him. Can't do anything about it. I can't do anything about it. I couldn't get Whitson Green out. I could have got her out, but I waited until the next turn. He's drawn his weakness, which kills him. Okay. Jaqueline's going to draw her card. He gets another spirit. I think that's probably going to be game now. Well, Jacqueline's got to get all the way back down here. And she's chucked away her astral. She's chucked away her astral travel. But there we go. Such is life. So Harvey's going to come away. He's going to come up there and onto his card. So frustrating. So frustrating. We'll check our hand size. Yep. Jaqueline's fine. We're going to move on to the Mythos phase. We're going to put a Doom on it. I think there's still an astral travel in here, but you never know. Check the Doom, there's 5 of 8. We're fine. Jacqueline's going to draw a card. She's going to get a Roach Swarm, which enters into her area. 3 Shroud location, so it's a 3 fight. And that's it for the Mythos phase. We're going to the investigation phase. She's going to spend 1 to attempt to kill the Roach Swarm, 2 health. Well, she gets her ability back. So fighting the Roach Swarm, I'll spend the one action is obviously to do Shriveling, which means she's going to use her head. She's going to tap Spirit to give her +2. So she's at 7 versus 3. 7 versus 3. She's going to get a -1. Does +1 damage. We didn't draw a symbol, so we're fine. Roach Swarm is dead. The only other thing she can do now is draw into a Hypnotic Gaze. I don't think I'm allowed to look in my discard pile. How many? 1. So there is 1 Hypnotic Gaze in the deck. So she's going to spend 1 to draw a card, which she's going to get. Raven's Night, Raven's of Endless Night. 2. Going to draw a card. Astral Travel. Right, Astral Travel. I think it might be a bit too late, but we'll go with it. Okay. That changes things a little bit. I think we're out of time. Because she's got to play an event. She's got to discard this bloody peril. But anyway, we'll see where it goes. So that's it for the investigation phase. I'm going to move to the enemy phase. Beast is going to continue to be where he is. So is the man in the pallid mask. And there are no other enemies in play. We're going to go into the upkeep phase. Jaqueline is going to get her 3 actions back. She's going to ready any exhausted cards. She's going to gain a resource. If I had 2 astral travels in play, I could boom boom. But doesn't look like that's going to be it. I don't think we've got enough time, but you never know. You never know. That's the upkeep phase. So we didn't draw a card. We'll draw a card. Ritual candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. So that's fine. We're then going to go on to the Mythos phase. Ladder Doom. Got 2 rounds left. after this, so 3 rounds left, effectively. We're going to draw a card for Jacqueline. She is going to get Walls Closing In. Test willpower X, where X is the shroud value of your location, 3. She's 5. She'll chuck in a ritual candles to make it 6. So 6 versus 3. 6 versus 3. 6 versus 3. Get that one. Minus X, where X is the amount of horror on you. None. She hasn't actually taken any horror this game, so it's 0. So we're successful, so we don't need to worry about that card. Good. We then move on to the investigation phase. Our first 2 actions, unfortunately, are to get rid of the You Can't Play Events card. Her second action is to spend 3, pay astral travel. So she's going to spend 3. She's not going to use her special ability, she's going to save that. So we need to draw a random token. She can afford to take the damage. She's going to draw a +1. She's going to move down to any revealed location. So she can move down to the basement. She's going to move down to the basement for her last action. Don't think I've got enough actions again. Don't think I've got enough actions again. But there we go, we'll see. So that's it for the investigation phase. We're going to go to the enemy phase. Nothing happens and they're all just chilling. We're going to go into the upkeep phase. We'll get all of our actions back for Jaqueline. Ready any cards, we'll gain a resource and we'll draw a card. Ineffable Truth. That's it for the upkeep phase. She's got loads of space in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it for the upkeep phase. We're going to move into the Mythos phase. We're going to put Doom on there. 7 of 8. Just not got enough actions. Not got enough actions, but we'll continue. We'll continue. Mythos phase, so we've done the Doom. We're going to draw a card. It's the last card, actually, so we'll need to shuffle those in a second. So the last card is going to be Revelation. Test 4 willpower. If you fail, take 2 horror and search your deck for a madness card. Well, she's at 5, so she's at +1. She's got nothing to chuck at it. I'm glad I saved my special, so we'll use that to draw 3 tokens. I'm at +1. I'm at +1 currently. I'm going to draw that one, that one, that one. I am going to ignore those 2. I'm at +1, so I'll ignore those 2. There's a reason for that. So she wins, so she doesn't take the yellow sign thing. And because she's ignored the elder sign, she gets to draw a card. She's going to draw ritual candles. So that's that, that's that, that's that. That goes into the discard pile, we'll shuffle it and then reset it. I think that's what we do. I don't think it's going to make a great deal of difference at this point. That there. We'll then go into the investigation phase. Jacqueline will spend one action to move into this third patient confinement, this one here. Put to one side for a second, and we're going to get Daniel's cell. 3. Daniel's cell. After the patient's confinement is revealed, advanced to Act 2B. Okay. That says, when you enter his cell, you find Daniel huddled in a corner of the room, sobbing and rocking back and forth on the ground. No mask, no mask, he stammers over and over. You'll help him to his feet and try to console him, telling him that he's not crazy. But strange events have been occurring throughout the town ever since the King in Yellow returned to Arkham. It's Nigel, he exclaims, gripping you tightly. Nigel made us speak his name. He made us speak the oath. Now he lives inside us, controlling us. Don't you understand? He rambles on. We spoke his name and the price was paid. Hasta, Hasta, O King. You believe you might understand more about the situation if you can calm him down. But you'll have to get him out of his asylum if you can accomplish this. Choose an investigator at patient's confinement, so that's going to be Jaqueline. Put the set aside Daniel Chesterfield card, asset side face up into play. So just to make sure we've got no other allies in Catherine's area. So Daniel Chesterfield's going to go in, and he is going to exhaust him to give him control to another investigator. Well, Harvey's no longer with us, unfortunately. He's done a bunk. When you take horror, if at least one horror, that horror is not assigned to Daniel Chesterfield, take 1 damage. If Chesterfield leaves play, remove him from the game. Okay. Shuffle the encounter discard pile on each enemy beneath the act deck into the encounter deck. Well, that's all of those. We'll put them all in and we'll give them a good old shuffle. Give them a good old shuffle. That way's all cut, and then we'll put them there like that. So that was the first action. That's that one done, and then we move on to planning the escape. Without warning, with or without Daniel, you have to get him out of this place as soon as you can. Ignore the text on unrevealed sides of Arkham locations, which are all done anyway. If investigations have it performed for the following, you must advance. Okay, right, let's just check this out, sorry. So let's work ourselves from the top. If you succeed, remember you distracted the guards. So we've distracted the guards. We've distracted the guards for 1. That's 1. Incited a fight amongst patients, which we've done there. That's 2. We've set a fire in the kitchen. That's 3. That's a victory point. That's a victory point. That's a victory point. What's this one underneath here? Know the guards patrol. Know the guards patrol. Know the guards patrol. 4. So we've done all 4. We've done 4. We have done 4. So we advance. We have done 4, so we advance it. An orderly's scream echoes across the hall. Within the moments, an alarm rings loudly throughout the institution. Nurses and guards rush through the asylum in a desperate attempt to control the situation. You feel dazed and your vision is spotty, as though you've been struck by something heavy. The walls blur together and twist. Creatures begin to emerge out of crevices and corners that did not exist moments before. Shuffle the encounter discard pile on each enemy beneath the active deck into the encounter deck. We've already done that. If at least 3 monsters, so we haven't done it at this point. If at least 3 monster enemies were shuffled into the investigator counter deck by this effect, the investigator with the lowest wheel discards cards from the top of the encounter deck until a monster is discarded and draws the enemy. So no. If at least 3 monster enemies were shuffled in the encounter deck by this effect, they weren't, because they're already in there. So I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. And we then move on. All hell has broken loose. Ignore the texts. Garden gains. If there are no ready enemies on the garden, resign. Finally a way out. Got to get back to the garden. And I got a turn to do it. I've got 2 actions left. Objective: if each undefeated investigator has resigned, advanced. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, advance. Well, Harvey's already been defeated, unfortunately, so I don't think we're going to ever be able to advance that. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, advance. I don't know. Right, so that was the first action from Jacqueline. Her second action is to move back to the basement hall. Her third action is to move up to the asylum halls. No, we're done. We're done, but anyway, let's keep going. Investigation phase, or enemy phase. There are no enemies in play. Upkeep phase. We ready everything. We get our actions back. We gain a resource. Check our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're all good. We're on to the Mythos phase. We're going to add a Doom, which is going to put it to 8. Which means we're going to read this. We're going to turn it over. The walls close in, your vision blurs, there is screeching in your ears, you are grabbed and cannot fight back. You call for help, but nobody comes to your aid. You look for a way to escape, but instead you see the pallid mask of the stranger staring back at you, around each corner, behind every door, staring at you through every window. That mask, that damned mask. Or perhaps it is you who wears the mask. Each investigator who has not resigned is defeated. If any investigators resign, those investigators may immediately advance to Act 4B. Well, they're defeated. And I think that means they're dead. I will just double check that. Okay, just done a bit of checking. We're now across at the scenario ended on the campaign log for our campaign for Path to Carcosa. So we'll proceed to resolutions and see what we get. Choose resolution. No resolution was reached. Each investigator was defeated. That's what we've got to choose because Harvey obviously was knocked out. through physical trauma, and Jacqueline didn't manage to make it to the garden to resign, so no resolution was reached. Continue. Defeated. Continue. Investigator defeat. Dr. Mintz, the patient has been medicated and is now ready to see you. Nurse Heather opened a file on the desk nearby, taking a moment to review the patient's records. Any changes in the patient's condition? Dr. Mintz asked in a monotone voice. A formality. Both knew the patient was beyond repair. None. The patient's delusions remain, demanding to speak with the warden, claiming they are only guests and rambling about a play that aired the other night, The King in Yellow. And their other crimes, the incident in the theatre, what about 1452 Atlantic Avenue? They believed they were attacked and were defending themselves. Her voice was thick with pity. What could have caused someone to snap like this so quickly? None of the patient's records show any prior history of mental instability. Can you make any sense of it, Doctor? Who could? Dr. Mintz sighed and stood, grabbing the file from his desk. My job is not to understand, it's to cure. Perhaps my experimental procedures will prove fruitful on this one. The nurse winced and felt goosebumps on her arm. She knew about his procedures. She knew how his procedures would turn out, and she doubted it would prove anything. Each investigator who is defeated is driven insane. If there are not enough investigators to continue the campaign is over and the players lose. Harvey is insane. Jaqueline is insane. No resolution was reached. In your campaign log, record the king claimed its victims. If there are not enough investigators to continue the campaign is over and the players lose. Otherwise, the players continue. Each player whose investigator has been driven insane must choose a new investigator from the pool of investigators. Well, there we go. I'm not going to choose a couple of new investigators. I'd like to try my best to take it to all the way through it. So I'm going to call it at that point. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it is the game, and that's how it works. I don't think there are too many scenarios that actually kill you through the cycles. It's quite apt, I suppose, in regards to what we're playing. We're playing Arkham Horror. We're playing in the Mythos, with the Mythos. So we can't expect for it all to be a happy ending. I was hoping to get all the way through the campaign. What I will do now is I will go back to the drawing board and look at my investigator pool, look at who I've got available. I enjoy playing the starter decks, although we did go outside a little bit. Harvey stayed pretty much within his pool, and I really enjoy playing Harvey. I was starting to get the hang of him, and Jacqueline as well. But I think we'll probably try a couple of different investigators next time round. We do now know what's in store for us in these few scenarios. I've not played, like I've said before, I've not played beyond only the first couple of scenarios. So all of these other ones were new to me, and so they remain fresh. And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to continue playing with two new investigators in this campaign, because I want to experience it in my head properly and take some investigators all the way through. That's just the way I like to play. Clearly, the game allows you to just choose a couple of new investigators and carry on with the campaign if you want to. I'm not going to do that. I will go back to the drawing board. So I hope you've enjoyed this series. I'm ashamed, I'm sorry that we've not managed to get all the way through, but we are playing it as the game intended for us to play it. And don't worry, we will be revisiting Arkham Horror, the living card game, on the channel. Like I say, I'm really love playing this game, as you can see from all the bits and bobs that I bought for it. So don't fear, we will be returning to Arkham and its surrounding areas in future channel updates. But thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all again soon.